Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Bhadram Karnebhih Shrunuyama Devaah Bhadram Pashyemakshabhir Yajatraah Sthirairangai Stushtovagum Sastanubhih Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuh Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravah Swasti na Pusha Vishvavedah Swasti nastarksho arishtanemi Swasti no Brihaspatir dadhatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. On being asked by the student about that knowing which everything gets known, knowing that it is the self, the question meant, who am I? And in reply to that, here the Guru, Rishi Angiras, is first stating that there are two types of knowledge, the higher and the lower, para and apara, and both need to be known. The lower knowledge, all the scriptures have been enumerated under that. And the higher knowledge is said to be the one which helps us, enables us to attain that imperishable reality. Which means the words, their meanings, all these constitute the lower knowledge, and it is only the experiential knowledge of the self which is considered to be the higher. And what is that imperishable self? So here in the language of negation, first it is indicated. So whenever the self is indicated as it cannot be defined, that indication can happen in various ways. For example, when somebody wants to come to our place and we want to let them know how to reach or how to recognize our home. So there are different ways to indicate that. So we say, when you come onto that street, you see a first house, then after that there is a second house. Both these are not mine. And then there is a third house, that is mine. So first, these two are not mine. Then on that street there are only three houses. First is not mine, second is not mine. Then what remains? that is mine. That's one way of saying. Means I indicate what it is not. Then there is another way of indication. We say you will see a red car parked in front of it. That is my house. Now, the red car is not my house, and red car need not be there all the time for it to be my house. But the red car, which is visible from a distance, helps me to recognize the house which is not visible from that distance. I can see the car, I can't see the house, but I know where the car is, that's where I will find the house. This is the second way, in association with something else. And the third is, I say, the house which is painted yellow, that is my house. The color of the house itself is yellow. Oh, okay, that is my house. So I have these three. In Sanskrit, these are only called as Lakshana. Lakshana means indication. So when I indicate anything, I can indicate by any of these ways. So when I indicate using the quality of what it is, its own quality. For example, the house, yellow colored house. Now, the yellow color and the house cannot be separated from each other. It is yellow color, its own quality it is. This is called Swarupa Lakshana. So, when it is indicated using its own quality. When it is indicated in association to something which is in proximity, that associative indication is called Tatastha Lakshana. Tatastha means you indicate something in association to something else which is more familiar. And the third, which is indication of something by negation of what it is not, that is called Atad Vyavriti Lakshana. Atad. Tad means that. Atad, not that. Atad Vyavriti. So Swarupa Lakshana, Tatastha Lakshana, Atad Vyavriti Lakshana. The point is, all these different ways of indicating have been used in this one mantra that we studied last. The sixth mantra. Yattad adreshyam agrahyam agotram avarnam achakshushrodram tadapanipadam nityam vibhum sarvagatam susukshmam tadavyayam yadbhutayonim paripashyanti dhiraha. This mantra has all the three ways of indication. Adreshyam, agrahyam, cannot be seen, cannot be grasped. Means now I am indicating whatever that can be seen, it is not that. Whatever can be grasped, it is not there. Whatever has an origin, it is not that. So negating what it is not. And this helps, and this is necessary to know what it is not. Elimination, elimination, elimination. Then what remains? This is what it is. So this achakshushrodram tadapanipadam. So it is not the sense organs, the organs of action. But wherever sense organs and organs of action are seen to be functioning, there that self has to be there. Otherwise, without that, they cannot function. So that also. Then Nityam, eternal. This is what? Swarupa. What is it then? Nityam. Vibhum. Sarvagatam. All pervading. Susukshmam. Extremely subtle. Tad avyayam. Imperishable. Imperishable means or unchanging. Unchanging means it is not that which is changing. Yat bhuta yonim. Bhuta yonim means the cause of all that is seen to exist, the entire creation. Now this is what Tatastha Lakshana. I am seeing the creation, but I am not seeing the self right now. But what am I saying? Whatever creation that is more familiar, more visible, with respect to that, in association to that, that self is the cause of all this. And that is why knowing the cause, all the effects automatically get known. So it is in line with the question that has been raised. So this self is the cause of this entire creation. It is a little difficult to digest. How can that be possible? How can this self create this entire universe? You mean to say this whole universe has come emerged out of this self? Now we are not able to digest this statement or such statements because somewhere deep down we imagine or we consider or we have this notion that that self, because we have used these kind of words, it is inner self, we use that. Then inner means it is inside. Where inside? Now my identity today is the body. So I said, I am a body and it has one inside the body, there is one self. Now where? There is no space inside. Everything is filled. So in that there is some. And then there are some scriptures which say it is in the heart space. Heart? So then it really must be something really tiny to squeeze in somewhere in the heart. So it is there inside. So this concept of that self being inside creates this notion that it is something very, very tiny, minute. And then this question comes, that tiny little self, how can that be the cause of this huge creation? How can that tiny self be the source from which all this has emerged? It doesn't seem possible. But our scriptures have given such examples. In one of the Upanishads, the example of a banyan tree is given. That where the, the teacher asks the student to get a fruit of the banyan tree. He says, break it open. In that, there are seeds. Now, those seeds are so tiny. He says, okay, break open that seed. He says, it's not possible. He said, no, you have to do it. So somehow he crushes it. There's nothing. See, there's nothing. But from this little thing, this whole banyan tree has come. So if this is possible, then why can't it be possible from the self? Even if this notion of it being tiny is real, even then it is possible. But this notion is also not real. Because it is not, I am not this body having a self. I am the self which functions through this and all other bodies. I am that infinite self, Anantatma. So here, when he says Yad Bhuta Yonim and Paripashyanti Dhiraha, it is the cause of this entire universe, entire creation, and this is experienced, known directly by great people of knowledge. Then how come this creation took place? There are many questions related to creation. We may not have questions related to Brahman. Because that is not, okay, Brahman, okay, fine, Brahman, fine. But you tell me creation, how did this happen? That we are more curious about. And Here only one of the words that is indicated here is avyayam, means that doesn't undergo change. It doesn't undergo change, but you're saying it is the cause. Now, in general, if we look at all the different causes of any effect, now if we say a lump of clay, now if it is the cause of a clay pot, then it has to undergo change in the shape so that it becomes a pot. It cannot, without undergoing change, transform or manifest as a pot. It is not possible. It has to undergo change, and this is how we are seeing. Even when we see the milk turns into curd. So what is the cause of the curd or the yogurt? The cause of the yogurt is milk. Okay, but milk has undergone complete transformation, and that is how yogurt came into existence. But here you are saying it is unchanging, avyayam. So without undergoing any change, how can creation come about? Doesn't seem to be logical. So here, in the next mantra, very beautiful, also quite popular mantra, the creation, the principle of creation is first introduced or explained, and that too using three different examples. So we'll first read the mantra, seventh one. यथोर्णनाभिसृजते गृह्णते च यथा पृथिव्याम् ओषधयः सम्भवन्ति यथा सतः पुरुषात् केशलोमानि सतः पुरुषात् केशलोमानि तथाक्षरात् सम्भवतीह विश्वम् तथाक्षरात् सम्भवतीह विश्वम् तथा अक्षरात् सम्भवति इह विश्वम् तथा in that way yatha tatha yatha in the way which all these examples are given, in that same manner tatha iha vishwam sambhavati, this whole universe is created or this gets manifested from aksharat, from that akshara, from that imperishable reality self. So from that imperishable reality, this whole creation manifests in the same way. In the same way means which way? Three examples. What are these three examples? The first example is yatha, just as urnanabhi. Urnanabhi means a spider. Urnanabhi srijate. How does the spider create its web? The spider is not dependent on anything else to create the web. Where does that web material come from? From the spider only. It is not taking some, no, let me borrow some thread and then I will make this. If we have to create something similar to a spider's web, I have to get some thread and then I have to tie with each other. The spider does not need anything else apart from itself. The spider itself brings out this web and weaves the web. Srijate. And once the job is done, its tummy is full, then it swallows the whole thing also. Grinnhate cha. It takes it back. So it is not dependent on anything else. The web is woven by the spider and the material for the web also comes from the spider only. So there is no other material, it is using, it is not dependent on anything else for creation of the web. It just creates from its own self, and it withdraws everything also into its own self. So this is example number 1, spider. Now, when we listen to this example and say, oh, so the spider creates the web. Question is, why? Because it wants to create. But why? Why? For it is hungry, poor thing. So it has to catch its prey. So it creates the web. Then it gets its food. Then it takes it back. Which means the self wants something. So it creates this universe. Then it is also waiting for some prey. Then the self eats that prey, then withdraws this whole universe. Does that happen? No. Then what is the motive of the self? Tell me now. Because the example you gave, there the spider has a motive. And it consciously is putting in effort. Because although the material comes out from the spider only, but hours together, poor thing has to work. Only then this whole thing comes out. After working and creating a spectacular web, it itself goes and sits somewhere. We say that usually it is sitting there still, waiting for something to come. But it could be that it is tired and is just taking rest. That is why it is still. Who knows? But it has to put in effort. So there is a motive, there is some gain it has out of this creation of the web, and it also has to put in effort, which may be tiring also. And that is what creates the web. So in this example, if we just take this example, we find that the self also seems to have some motive, and maybe self has to work so hard to create. Now web is just one little thing, and just creation of one web, it takes so long and so much of effort. Now this world of plurality, no two things are exactly identical. Every leaf on a tree is all unique. To create such creation, how much of hard work would be required? How much of effort? And what would be the motive? So that's the reason, to clarify that aspect, the second example is there. Here Puja Gurudev very beautifully explains that this particular mantra is actually breaking the rule or the basic style of the scripture. Because the style of the scripture is economic. Means if something is achievable by one example, second example is not necessary. If something is achievable by two words, the third word is not necessary. Otherwise, any extra thing added will only add to confusion or misinterpretation, misunderstanding. So here Puja Gurudev says that there are three examples, not one, not two, three examples. Why? Because it has a purpose. In the first example, yes, the independent creation is indicated, that there is no materials other than the one who is creating. The creator himself has the material, the creator himself brings out this web, like the spider brings out this creation without depending on anything else. Yes, but what about the question of motive and effort? Is that also there in the self and the creation coming out from the self? No. To indicate that, the second example is given. And what is the second example? The earth. From the earth, yatha prithivyam oshadhayah sambhavanti. Oshadhayah, different types of plants, herbs, trees, all types of vegetation that is born out of the earth. Now the earth, does the earth have to work hard to bring out any vegetation? Just comes. Little bit of rain and there is everywhere greenery. No hard work required. Okay, does the earth have a motive to bring that greenery out? There is no motive also. So no motive, no effort. And it just comes. Then you could have just said earth. Why did you say spider? Because what is coming out is not coming out just from earth. It is something different from earth that is coming out, a grass or whatever. So therefore, to manage that aspect, because every example has a limitation, we cannot, and that too when we have to give an example for the self is one without a second. There is nothing else comparable to the self. So if at all we give examples, only the certain aspects of the example only will be applicable to the principle. So here the aspect of independent creation is taken care of by the spider example. But there is no motive, there is no effort involved, that is taken care of by the earth and the vegetation example. But here also there is another limitation. What is the limitation? The earth is inert. So does that mean the self is also inert? And therefore the inert self does not have any motive, doesn't put in any effort, and then the creation just comes by itself. So therefore there is a third example. What is the third example? Yatha satah purushat, from a living person, kesha lomani. The hair on the head, and lomani means hair on the other parts of the body. So the hair growing on a living person. In this also, effort required? No. Any motive? In fact, if we ask people, sometimes they say that it is better it doesn't grow. Otherwise, you have to again and again shave. So it is better it doesn't grow. Good. Why it comes? There is no motive. तो पूज्य गुरु जी ऑलवेज सेज ना, ये तो घर की खेती है. Our own field of cultivation can come anytime. Let it grow as much as it wants to. You cut off anytime you want to cut off. It will again come. It keeps coming effortlessly, without any conscious motive or even unconscious motive. There is no motive behind this. It just comes. It is growing. And it grows only when the person is living. So Purushat Keshalomani. So here this also is, the inertness of the cause also is eliminated by the third example. So therefore, when it's said that according to these three examples, based on these three examples, the entire creation comes forth from that self, which is imperishable, unchanging. What does it mean? It means the self does not need any other material or any other entity's help to create this universe. So what is the material of creation? It is the self itself. Is there a motive? There is absolutely no motive. Is there effort involved in this creation? Absolutely not. Does that mean the self is inert? No, it is of the nature of consciousness. So that self, which is of the nature of consciousness, effortlessly, here Gurudev uses the word purposelessly. What is the other purpose? Nothing. It is just there. It comes. So purposelessly the self is acting. What is it? Self is not acting. It is not doing the action of creation. It is just happening. It is appearing. It is just manifesting. Why would something like that happen? Because why would something like that happen is a wrong question. For example, if we had already talked about this concept of Maya, Maya is what? That ability, that possibility. Now, if there is some ability inherent in me, sometime it will express. For example, if I can walk, sometime I will walk, right? I will walk. Okay, you're walking. Where are you going? Somebody went for a morning walk. So a friend of his came in a car. He said, "Where are you going?" "I just came out for a morning walk." "Should I drop you?" So is there a destination for a morning walk? Just come out. Why are you walking? Because I can walk. Therefore I'm walking. Somebody can sing. That possibility of singing is there. They'll sing. There's a story in Panchatantra. There's donkey and jackal. Both of them went together into a field, broke into a field and started eating a lot of cucumbers. And both of them were full, and the jackal said, "Let us run away now." So the donkey said, "Look at the full moon in the sky. A soft, cool breeze, and our tummy is full. What better time to sing than this? I want to sing." Donkey. This guy said, "This is not the time. Even if you could sing well, this is not the time." Says, "No, I feel like singing. I'll just sing." The ability is there. It will come out. At any time it can come out. So similarly, the possibility of this entire universe is there. So it can come out at any time. Is there some specific motive? No, not required. Because it is effortlessly coming. Anytime it can come. And anytime it can get withdrawn also. So independent creation, effortless creation, without any motive, from that which is of the nature of consciousness. Now here, of course, the creation is further explained, this one and further sections also. But a very important concept before we move ahead is, if there is, now whenever we talk about any type of creation, the cause, mainly two types of cause are involved. For example, whenever a pot is created by a potter, without the potter, there can not be any pot, right? Okay, without the clay, can there be a pot? No. So these two are required. There has to be a potter and there has to be clay, and the potter has to work with the clay in order to create the pot. So with respect to the creation of the pot, these two causes, the potter and the clay, are given names as the efficient cause. Efficient cause means the one conscious entity that brings about the creation, and the second is the clay, that is called the material cause, which actually goes into the creation. And the material cause pervades the creation. Efficient cause brings about the creation. If we understand with respect to this example, and now coming to the example given in this mantra, that of spider, if we have to take it, the cause of this universe, the efficient cause is the self. Because it is consciousness. Okay, what is the material cause? There is nothing else other than that. So, the material cause is also the conscious self. So, efficient cause and the material cause of the creation of this universe is the same, and that is the self, which is of the nature of consciousness. If we get this point clearly based on all these examples that the mantra has given, a very, very important understanding will dawn upon us, and that is when the material cause and the efficient cause of any creation is one and the same, what can we say about the creation? We have to look for an example, let us say. Okay, so the example that is given in the scriptures is that of a dream. Dream, efficient cause, my mind. Material cause, my mind. So the waker's mind is the efficient cause and the material cause of the dream world and the dream experiences. So when the material cause and the efficient cause of anything is the same, then the creation is just an appearance. So here, the self of the nature of consciousness, which is infinite, imperishable, unchanging, itself is the efficient and material cause of this entire universe, then this universe is just an appearance. This is a revelation, and it sometimes hits us very hard. Sometimes we find it difficult to digest or accept. Because we look at this creation first, we take it as real first, then we inquire about the cause. So in that sequence, first this is real. Now tell me what is the cause of this. And when we reach the cause, we understand that this is not real. How can that be not real? Because my premise itself was this is real. And even in a dream, the characteristic of the dream experience is till the time I am in the dream, it appears real. Only when I wake up, I understand it was unreal. Same is the case with this. That is why in many scriptures, many saints also say, this world and this life is an elongated dream. It seems real while we are in the dream. But on waking up, we understand it was never there. So, the same conscious self is the material cause and the efficient cause of this entire creation. Now, with this understanding or with having this information, then we proceed further. Okay. Because we have to come back after this journey, we'll come back to the same point. That time we will be able to, get a complete picture of it. But with this awareness, we take up this journey. Okay. So further, what does the Upanishad say? So having given these three examples, now the process of creation is taken up. How does this creation come about? Now the point is, if we have to find out how is the dream created. Now, for the one who has woken up, does it really matter? How was this dream created? Tell me. Now, I have woken up. Who cares? Because I know it was just an appearance, there was no creation. But I come to know only after waking up. But while in the dream, if I want to know how the dream was created, what was the starting point, how did it begin? Now, can someone explain or can someone understand? So, for such an inquiry, there can only be theories of creation. There can be a theory. And that is why we find in different Upanishads, this creation is explained or described in different ways. Now you say, there in that Upanishad it said like that, and in this Upanishad it is saying like this. What is this? There is so much of disagreement among the scriptures only. There is no disagreement as far as the cause of creation is there. It is only the process of creation where some places they say something, some places they say. It is actually based on the disciple, that what that disciple needs to hear, so that the intellect is pacified, it's satisfied, and it becomes peaceful. And when that intellect becomes peaceful, automatically the self is realized. And once the self is realized means once we wake up, after that there is no question of where did the creation come from. So the process employed is not to explain how creation came about. Because sometimes we get lost in that. You tell, oh, first the five elements came or the mind came? No, because in that text I have seen that no, mind is created of the five elements. But then here it is said that the mind came first and after that the five elements. I am very confused. This becomes an important matter for us till the time this creation is real for us. That does not mean that we should not know what the Upanishad says. We have to know. There may be some disagreements also. We may find that there it is said that this is the sequence, here it is said this is the sequence, and some places it is said there is no sequence, everything just appears instantly, everything comes up. And somewhere it is said after this, after this, after this. What is the real thing? You tell me. All this is real. How can different things be real at the same time? Okay, then one cycle of creation, this is how it was created. Second cycle, it was created like that. They understand the way you want. How does it matter? Because that is not the main subject matter. The Upanishad does not want us to know how creation came about. But understanding or knowing and taking up this journey is important, because for us, we have demanded it. For us, if the Upanishad says you are Brahman, over, we are not able to accept. Therefore, what to say? There is Brahman, which is indestructible, unchanging, reality, which cannot be seen, which cannot be grasped. Okay, that Brahman, from that, slowly this creation comes, and then the creation is slowly progressing, and this is how all the different karmas are done. And when karmas are done, then different lokas you get, and then this is how the karma theory works. And then you go round and round. Finally, that 3 pradakshinas of your own home is over, and after that you are dropped at the gate and said, now you have come home. Thank God you dropped me back home. So this 3 rounds is not the main subject matter. The subject matter is over as far as the Upanishad is concerned. But for us, this is the compassion of the rishis, that they take us on a journey because we need the journey. Otherwise, once one Upanishad we read and then we say, what is this unnecessary creation and all? If creation is unreal, why are you talking so much about creation? But we need it. Because for us, creation is real. I am looking at it, I am experiencing it as real. For me, my identity is this body, which is also part of creation. I have to talk about it. Without taking this into consideration, any knowledge will be incomplete as far as I am concerned. Because what I care about, what I consider as real, has to be taken into consideration in my body of knowledge. Otherwise, it will be incomplete. Otherwise, I may understand for that moment, maybe after that I get confused. Because for me, still that the creation has not got resolved in my head. It is still real for me. And then I say, if there is consciousness and you're saying there is only one consciousness without a second, then where did this creation come from? After studying, we will ask this question. And then we have to say the same thing, this Upanishad will have to repeat. So the Rishi said, let us first finish it off. That is why Dve Vidya Veditavya. That is why two types of knowledge. First, the lower knowledge, finish that off. Eliminate it from the list. Then what remains? That is what is the real thing. So it is important for us, therefore, this whole journey. So what is this journey? So we'll read the next mantra, mantra number 8. तपसा चीयते ब्रह्म ततोन्नमभिजायते अन्नात् प्राणो मनः सत्यम् अन्नात् प्राणो मनः सत्यम् लोकाकर्मसु चामृतम्. How did this creation begin? Now, we started off this Upanishad. Om Brahma Devanam Prathamasam Babhuva Vishwasya Karta Bhuvanasya Gopta. So that Brahmaji, who is that Brahmaji? That same Brahman, consciousness, self, when it is referred to with Maya, which is already there as a power, as a possibility, as a potential, it is already there. That Brahman referred to in reference to this Maya is called as Ishvara, or here Brahmaji. That Brahma here, tapasa, when it is doing tapas, deliberately using the word, not translating now, doing tapas, this Brahma, what happened? Chiyate, started swelling. Oh, so practicing tapas, we will swell. I think I can relate to that. Because I also sit for a long time. My legs are swelling, water retention increases, there is pain here, pain there. So poor Brahman must be feeling a lot of pain. So what is this tapas? Here Gurudev says, we often translate it as tapas means austerity, dictionary meaning it is austerity. Yeah, but the real austerity, what is the real austerity? It is not the physical practices that we take up. The real austerity is thinking, right thinking. मनसः ऐकाग्र्यं तपः इन्द्रियाणां मनसश्च ऐकाग्र्यं परमं तपः. This said, concentrated thinking, employing the senses and the mind single pointedly in the field of our thought, that is called tapa. Otherwise, having fire lit all around us and in the midday sun, we are sitting there on top, the sun is scorching and all four sides we have fire. What are you doing? Tapas. This is all easy, not very difficult. Because after all, physical. But thinking is very difficult. We get tired very easily. That's why this famous saying, a moment's thought would have changed the course of my life. But a moment was a long time, and thinking is a difficult process. But one moment, thought, difficult. Is that without food, we can go on for a few days. Without water, few hours. Without air, few seconds. Without thinking, so many lifetimes have passed. Thinking is happening, that's a different thing. Right thinking. So this tapas, that's why it is said Jnanamayam tapah. That will also come in one of the mantras. Jnanamayam tapah. The right understanding. And this same concept is expressed in the Puranas. In the Puranas, it is said that the whole picturization of this, what is there? It is infinite reality, attributeless, infinite reality. It is doing nothing, but it is endowed with the potential called Maya, and that expression of that potential called Maya is where with reference to that potential only, one is called the creator, and that creator creates. Now this whole thing is picturized so beautifully in the Puranas, saying that there is Mahavishnu. His complexion is considered to be bluish. When we look at the sky, what is the color? Blue. Means blue is not actually the color of the sky. We all know it very well. Still, it appears blue. Means that which is infinite is blue. Because that's how the light works. So, here, Lord Mahavishnu is indicated with this bluish complexion. Means that is the infinite Brahman. And he is endowed with that Maya, and that Maya, that potential is in his service, pressing his feet, Lakshmi. Endowed with Maya, what happens? The creator is born. The first mantra of this Upanishad, Brahma Devanam Prathamaha Sambhabhuva, born, manifested. Means what? There in the picturization, it is shown that from his own navel, one lotus came up, and in that lotus was seated the all-knowing Brahma. That is what it is in the picturization. But what we need to understand is, when I identify with the potential that is inherent in me, then that capable person is born, is manifested. So this Brahmaji comes up. And when this Brahmaji is seated in that lotus and looking around, he has 4 faces facing all the 4 directions. So he doesn't have to turn. He's looking all around. And when he's looking all around, he says, why am I here? What is the purpose? So then at that time, he gets an indication that I need to think. I need to understand. So that there the word used is tapas. Perform tapas means think. And when he thinks, when he goes inward, then he realizes, oh, I am here to create. I understand my identity and I manifest the potential that I already have. Create. So that's when he starts this process of creation. This whole picturized information here in one phrase is said, tapasa chiyate brahma. Chiyate, swells up. Swells up means what? Is now ready to manifest. When we are ready to manifest. And there is no other, we have to understand. Conceptually, we have understood that there is nothing, no other material that is used to create. Chiyate means swelling up means what? He himself is ready to manifest himself. So there is nothing other than himself. So himself, as though, starts growing. See, these are all limitations of words. It does not mean, no, when I start thinking, I swell. Figuratively, yes, I do swell. Because when I start thinking, there is greater clarity. When there is greater clarity, the pervasiveness of my identity increases. More and more understanding, more and more pervasive my identity becomes. What we call as deeper thinking, that actually increases the pervasiveness. Subtlety, we saw susukshmam, extremely subtle. Extremely subtle means what? That is most pervasive. So the manifestation begins with that identity. Oh, I am endowed with this potential, and here comes the creation. Tapasa chiyate brahma. And how is this creation? What comes first? So he is saying, tataha annam abhijayate. First we will just see the words, then we will understand. Annam. Annam means actually food. Translation of the word. Tataha annam. From that creator, annam, food comes forth. Okay. Then annat pranaha. From food, prana comes. Prana means, primarily it is said the physiological functions, but here mainly the primary physiological function is of breathing. So prana, the life breath, vital airs, the physiological functions come into being. Annat prana. Okay, then from prana, what comes? Manaha, mind. Oh, okay. So, Brahman, endowed with Maya. And then from that comes food. From food comes prana. From prana comes mind. Okay, understood. Now, further, okay. From that mind, what comes? Mana, Satyam. Now, Satyam, although it is translated as truth, but here Satyam means the 5 elements. Oh, so food has come, prana has come, mind has come, and after that only 5 elements are coming. What is it? Is there not any? Is it not wrong? No, everything is correct in its place. Okay. So 5 elements. Okay. Satyam. Then what else? After that, Satyam, Lokaha. Different realms, Lokaha. Different realms of experience. And in those realms of experience, there is action performed. So that action also came into being. Okay, action is performed. And then, once action is performed, there is a result also. Here indicated by the word Amritam. Why is it called Amritam? Because even after the action ends, but the result and its effect stays. That is why it is called Amritam. So, this sequence of creation. Somehow it is not making sense to me. That Upanishad does not guarantee that everything will make sense to you. Because maybe I don't make sense to the Upanishad. My existence doesn't make sense to the Upanishad. So why should the Upanishad guarantee that it should make sense to me? I am not able to understand. And whenever such thing happens, what is most important is for a qualified student who will benefit. If there is any such difficulty in understanding, what I have to do is not doubt the scripture, not think about what is wrong with the scripture, but take that as truth and try to understand it, make changes within in my understanding. This is the right approach. Not question that the scripture is wrong, but there is some mismatch in my understanding. I am not able to understand this, means I have to put in effort to understand it and get aligned with the thought of the scripture. That is called faith. That is why we said Atharvaya Jeshta Putraya Praha. Who is the qualified student? Atharva, unshakable faith. The one who has unshakable faith. Means what? The scripture is right. But it doesn't make sense to me. Never mind. I will align myself. I will put in effort to understand it as the scripture says and not according to my own preconceived notions. So here, Puja Gurudev has also explained how one after the other things come. In our life also, this sequence is understood. And Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji also explains it in a different manner. So both these explanations we will see tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.